I was trapped in a cycle of self-destruction, and it all started with one habit. It took control of my life, dictating my moods, my relationships, and even my future. Hi, I'm Evans, and today I'm sharing my journey of breaking free from a habit that was ruining my life. For years, I struggled with compulsive masturbation. It was a secret shame I hid from the world, a dark cloud that followed me everywhere. If you're struggling with the same habit, know that you're not alone. In this video, I'm revealing the 6 reasons why I finally decided to stop masturbating and how this decision ultimately transformed my life. It wasn't the act itself that haunted me the most. It was the crushing weight of depression that followed. Every single time, without fail, I would feel this overwhelming sense of emptiness wash over me. Imagine trying to function in a world that felt grey and lifeless, where even the simplest tasks seemed insurmountable. I was constantly battling feelings of worthlessness, like I was fundamentally flawed and undeserving of happiness. It became a vicious cycle. The depression would hit, fueling the desire for a temporary escape. But that escape only deepened the despair, trapping me in a downward spiral with no end in sight. I remember one particularly dark period when I felt completely hopeless. I isolated myself from friends and family, withdrew from hobbies I once loved, and lost all motivation to pursue my goals. The weight of my secret shame was suffocating, and I felt powerless to break free. I knew I needed to make a change, but the grip of addiction was strong. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure, and masturbation, like any other addictive behavior, triggers a surge of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. But here's the catch. Those dopamine highs are fleeting, leaving you craving more. What starts as a pleasurable sensation quickly morphs into a relentless chase for the next hit. You're chasing a high that becomes increasingly elusive, leaving you feeling emptier and more dissatisfied each time. For me, the dopamine roller coaster was brutal. I'd experienced these brief moments of euphoria followed by an even deeper plunge into despair. It was like my brain couldn't regulate itself, swinging wildly between extremes. The emotional instability was unbearable. Relationships suffered, my work performance plummeted, and even simple conversations felt like navigating a minefield. I knew I couldn't live like that forever, but the pull of addiction was strong. Meaningful connections are the cornerstones of a fulfilling life. But my addiction created a wall of isolation, pushing away the people who cared about me most. It started subtly, cancelling plans, avoiding phone calls, retreating into myself. I was consumed by shame, terrified of someone uncovering my secret. I couldn't bear the thought of my loved ones seeing me for who I had become, trapped in a cycle of self-destruction. As the habit took hold, my ability to connect on a deeper level diminished. I was emotionally withdrawn, unable to offer the vulnerability and presence that true intimacy requires. Relationships that were once vibrant and full of life began to wither. The spark faded, replaced by a dull ache of unspoken tension and distance. I vividly remember the pain in my girlfriend's eyes when she realized the extent of my detachment. The guilt and remorse were overwhelming. We all have dreams, aspirations that fuel our passions and give us a sense of purpose. But my addiction had an insidious way of draining my energy, leaving me with little motivation to pursue anything beyond the next dopamine hit. What once excited me, creative projects, career goals, personal growth, now seemed insurmountable, replaced by a pervasive apathy that permeated every aspect of my life. I was stuck in a rut, going through the motions, but lacking the drive or enthusiasm to break free. It was like watching my own potential wither away, knowing deep down that I was capable of so much more. The frustration was immense. I'd start projects with initial bursts of energy, only to find myself quickly losing interest. I was living a life of quiet desperation, haunted by the nagging feeling that I was settling for mediocrity. The saddest part was that I knew I was capable of achieving my dreams. The financial impact of my addiction wasn't immediately apparent, but over time it became a significant source of stress and anxiety. What started as small, seemingly insignificant expenses gradually escalated into a financial drain that affected my overall well-being. The internet, with its endless supply of readily available content, became my enabler. Subscription fees, pay-per-view sites, and impulsive purchases added up quickly, creating a financial burden I was desperate to hide. The shame of my addiction compounded the problem. I couldn't confide in anyone about my struggles, let alone ask for help managing my finances. The weight of this secret debt became a constant source of anxiety. I was living a double life, projecting an image of responsibility while secretly drowning in a sea of shame and financial instability. The stress spilled over into every aspect of my life. I realized that true freedom meant breaking free from the chains of both addiction and financial instability. One of the most insidious side effects of my addiction was the pervasive laziness it fostered. It wasn't just physical laziness, it was a mental and emotional lethargy that seeped into every corner of my being. I became an expert at procrastination, putting off essential tasks, avoiding responsibilities, and finding endless excuses to justify my inaction. My to-do list grew longer, a constant reminder of my dwindling motivation and eroding willpower. The guilt and shame were relentless companions. I knew I was capable of so much more, but the addiction had sapped my energy, leaving me feeling drained and uninspired. Days blurred into nights filled with empty hours wasted on instant gratification. I was stuck in a rut, unable to muster the energy or willpower to break free from the self-imposed prison of my own making. I had opportunities, chances to pursue my passions, advance my career, and build a fulfilling life, but time and time again I would self-destruct, choosing the fleeting comfort of my addiction over the hard work of personal growth. The realization was both devastating and liberating. Breaking free from this habit has transformed my life. It was a long and challenging journey, but the rewards have been immeasurable. The depression lifted, my relationships healed, and I rediscovered a passion for life that I thought was lost forever. If you're struggling, know that change is possible. You are not alone, and there is hope. Reaching out for help was the most courageous decision I ever made. Let's break the silence surrounding this issue and create a space of understanding, support, and hope.